Welcome back, CarTech Zone. Today we're diving deep into a full review of an aerospace spacecraft concept that looks straight out of a sci-fi blockbuster, and we'll compare it to real-world US spacecraft performance and prices as of 2025. I'll walk you through design, propulsion, avionics, payload and crew considerations, flight performance expectations, operational costs, and what something like this would mean for commercial and government buyers. Stick around, we've got numbers, realistic comparisons, and a few surprises about how fast the industry is changing. First impressions matter, and this craft nails the cinematic look. Stealthy, low-profile fuselage, blended wing body lines, and massive aft thrusters that scream high delta 5 and long range. On a technical level, that profile suggests a lifting body design optimized for both atmospheric flight and orbital insertion. Think of a cross between an advanced spaceplane and a high-capacity orbital transfer vehicle. In practical terms, that means engineers would be balancing re-entry heat management, structural mass, and aerodynamic lift-to-drag trade-offs to deliver both runway or runway-like landings and the ability to carry cargo or crew to orbit efficiently. Propulsion is the heart of any spacecraft. The glowing multi-nozzle cluster at the rear implies modular, high-thrust engines, perhaps methane, LOX Raptors or an evolution thereof, to match the kind of performance companies like SpaceX are pushing with Starship. If this vehicle were realized with Raptor-class engines or similar cycle rocket engines, you'd expect very high thrust-to-weight and reusability ambitions. For context, in the current US market, the most ambitious reusable system under development is Starship, which is designed to deliver very large payloads and eventually lower per launch marginal costs dramatically. SpaceX has been actively iterating Starship across 2023-2025 with frequent test flights and upgrades as they chase full reusability and higher cadence. Performance claims for a craft like this would typically include payload capacity to low Earth orbit, Delta 5 budgets for orbital maneuvers and re-entry heating margins, and cross-range capability for landing. A lot depends on mass fraction. To be both a spaceplane and a heavy lifter, designers would want lightweight composites, high-temperature thermal protection, and powerful but efficient engines. Compared to a pure capsule design, the lifting body gains cross-range and runway landing flexibility, at the cost of increased thermal protection complexity. In the US fleet, most operational commercial crew systems favor capsules for simplicity and proven safety margins, while newer designs such as Sierra Space's Dream Chaser pursue lifting body architecture specifically to service the ISS with runway landings. That program gives a real example of how a lifting body is being used operationally in 2025. Let's talk numbers because you asked for a USA performance and prices review. Launch and spacecraft costs are a difficult mix of advertised list prices, government contracting packages, and mission-specific adders. For the baseline of modern US launch economics, reusable medium-lift rockets like SpaceX's Falcon 9 have had advertised commercial price points in the tens of millions of dollars range per launch, while heavier super-heavy options command considerably more, until reusability and mass production drive down marginal costs further. As a practical comparison, Falcon 9's commercial pricing has historically been cited around the low to mid-tens of millions, although government contracts and complex missions can push those numbers higher. Meanwhile, next-generation super-heavy systems under test aim to shift the paradigm by carrying far more mass per flight, which changes per kilogram economics if they reach designed reusability. If your sci-fi style spacecraft needed orbital delivery by a super-heavy booster, you'd be looking at a different pricing scale altogether, and several major players are actively pursuing that capability in 2025. Operational costs for a vehicle of this design break down into three big buckets: launch, insertion, refurbishment, turnaround, and mission ops, ground support, crew training, insurance. For a reusable, winged spacecraft intended for frequent flights, refurbishment costs dominate if the thermal protection system and engines require intensive maintenance between flights. Modern programs are explicitly trying to flip that script by designing for rapid turnaround and low refurbishment, the holy grail being aircraft-like operations. SpaceX's public ambitions for Starship have included very low marginal launch costs in the long term, with Elon Musk forecasting dramatic cost reductions if full reusability and mass manufacturing are achieved, Analysts disagree on exactly how low those customer prices will be during the early operating years, but the industry direction is clear. Providers want lower per-launch margins by increasing flight cadence and reuse. If we try to price an operational concept, a one-off bespoke spacecraft built to this level of capability in the US would likely involve development costs in the billions. Then per-flight operational budgets that could easily range from tens of millions to hundreds of millions depending on flight profile, payload complexity, and whether a super heavy booster is required. For comparison, NASA's large programs and Artemis-class spending show how deep the budgets can go when you're doing lunar missions and beyond. Agency reports and audits highlight multi-billion-dollar program totals across multi-year timelines. That gives you a sense. A high-end reusable spaceplane plus a heavy launch system is a multi-billion-dollar industrial program with per-flight economics that only look attractive when spread across many flights and customers. Performance in operational terms also includes turnaround time and flight cadence. Right now, the U.S. commercial launch market is already fast-paced for small and medium payloads. Falcon 9 routinely flies dozens of times per year, but true aircraft-like cadence for orbital vehicles remains aspirational. Starship's roadmap targets a dramatic increase in launch cadence to reshape per-mission pricing, but the technology and infrastructure to support weekly orbital flights at scale is still being proven in 2025. So, a craft like the one we're reviewing would benefit from a mature, high-cadence launch ecosystem. Without that, operational bottlenecks make the economics more challenging. Let's zoom into crew and safety. A winged spacecraft that lands runway style can reduce recovery complexity and speed up cargo access, and it's appealing for crew comfort during re-entry. But crew safety drives vehicle architecture toward redundancy, proven thermal protection, and abort systems, which all add mass and cost. U.S. commercial crew vehicles have shown a preference for tested approaches. Dragon's capsule system demonstrates high reliability with parachute rescue modes, while Starliner is the capsule path Boeing followed under NASA's commercial crew program. Dream Chaser represents the lifting body compromise, runway landing with cargo focus, and shows that the industry is seriously pursuing varied architectures depending on mission needs. For any operator considering this futuristic spacecraft, a rigorous certification path with NASA or another regulator would be mandatory and costly. Now, what about payload versatility? The pictured design looks modular, cargo bay doors, perhaps internal racks, and a roomy cockpit. That makes it a very attractive multi-purpose vehicle. Crew rotation, high-value cargo transfer, satellite deployment, or even rapid point-to-point high-speed transport if atmospheric hypersonic capability is integrated. Multi-purpose vehicles sell well to mixed customers: commercial, government, research, because they spread program costs across different revenue streams. The trade-off is always specialization versus versatility. Being excellent at one mission profile is often cheaper than being okay at many. If your goal is a commercial fleet operating daily resupply runs to orbital stations, a smaller, cheaper, and highly reusable design might win out. If the mission set includes lunar logistics or deep space transfer, you need heavier lift and more advanced systems, and the price tag goes up accordingly. From a buyer's perspective in the U.S. market, purchasing or contracting flights on this vehicle would involve negotiating a mixture of development-era pricing and mature operational rates. Early customers typically pay premium rates to fund development, sometimes under cost-plus contracts or milestone payments. Once a vehicle matures and flight cadence increases, expect more standardized price cards and per kilogram or per passenger costs. Historically, commercial launch providers have adjusted prices rapidly as technology and competition change. In 2025 we see price pressure from reusable launchers and emerging commercial space stations that will shape how buyers evaluate long-term contracts. So what's the verdict? If this spacecraft were real and built with today's top U.S. aerospace tech, it would be a costly but potentially game-changing platform, especially if paired with a truly reusable, high-cadence booster. The immediate obstacles are development cost, certification timelines, and establishing the ground and logistical infrastructure for frequent operations. The benefits are clear: runway recovery, versatile mission profiles, and a compelling mix of tech that could undercut dedicated expendable options on certain mission types. For creators, investors, or channel viewers curious whether this craft could replace current systems. Not overnight. Replacement requires years of development, rigorous testing, and a reliable, cost-effective launch and operations backbone. But as the U.S. industry pushes toward more reusability and higher cadence, with programs actively testing super heavy reusable rockets and lifting body spacecraft in 2025, the ingredients are coming together faster than many predicted. If you're a buyer, expect early access to be expensive and risky. If you're a fan or builder, this is exactly the era to watch. Breakthroughs in propulsion, materials, and manufacturing could make concepts like this achievable within 1 to 2 decades, or sooner if everything lines up. Thanks for watching. If you love the breakdown, smash that like button, drop a question in the comments about which subsystem you want a deep dive into: engines, TPS, avionics, or economics, and don't forget to subscribe to CarTech Zone for more tech and aerospace takes. We'll keep tracking real-world progress and bring you clear comparisons as new tests and price announcements come out. See you in the next one.